Hey, Marianne.
Hi, Marcus. How are you? This was a great presentation. I would love it if you could have a link to this to your answers that can go out, to a wide array of people in the district, because I think this was what we've talked about before, and I think it was wonderful. My question, though, and I hope that'll be possible. I don't know if there are technical things that I don't understand, but anyhow, I wanted to ask you about voting by mail, which in the district is going. Everybody's getting a request for an absentee ballot, and I wanted to know if you support it and will be promoting it while you're campaigning, because this is a first, and as we know, in the primary, we had very significant problems with the voting by mail process. Numerous people who requested a ballot did not get it, and there were huge lines at the very few voting in-person places that we had. I know I stood outside one of them at Merch, and the line was filled with people who never got the requested ballot in the mail. So I'm hoping that even though you're not a council member yet, that you could have strong influence on the people at the Board of Elections and get some checks and balances to ensure that the process will be far improved from before, but also that since it is the process, that you will be able to campaign and in support of it for November.
Thank you, Marianne. That's a great question. And certainly the standard that I hold myself to is that I'm about action and accountability. And though we're not a council member yet,
No.
I want to ensure that
I'm making
now,
you a council.
with your support, I mean, we're happy there, Marianne. And I think it's great that everyone's going to get a ballot. This pandemic is not going away anytime soon. So we do need to create the opportunity for people to vote as much as possible without having to be in person. And I think that now that the rule is that not just people who request it, but every registered voter at the address they have on file will be sent out a ballot that will be in a better place. And some people are concerned about does this hurt the sanctity of the election? And really, I think that because we all have a unique voter ID, you can only vote once, even if you were to return it or show up in person. So there are stopgap measures in place to ensure that people only get to vote once. And I want to ensure that if you need help, that you also get the opportunity to make a last minute request to get a ballot if you never got one in as long as you do so before election day and before the polls close. So I want to be as supportive of that system as possible. I want to put pressure on our Board of Elections to ensure that they have a system whereby people can make quickly responded to reports about whether their ballot has come or not. And people know the clear date that they can change their address up until. One thing I think is great that the mayor decided is to ensure that they open all 143 voting stations in the city. The lines, as you said, in Merch and everywhere else in the city for the primary were incredibly long. People were lining up at 8 o'clock and weren't able to vote until 1 a.m. So we need to ensure that that never happens again in the district. And I think opening all 143 polling stations and getting enough volunteers with social distance measures in place is going to help us pull off as seamless as possible an election, given these circumstances that are really tough. So Marianne, I'm here for you. And I think we just need to have clear lines of communication with our Board of Election.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne, for that question.